The headlamp that might replace every other light in your gear bag. What's up, my beautiful people? Welcome back to the channel where we ride, we hustle, we repeat. Today, we're checking out something a little different, but incredibly useful, whether you're an e-bike rider, a delivery driver, someone that likes to adventure out and ride at night, or someone that just wants to be prepared when they go out like I do, right? If you watch the channel, you know that I have my bag where I have my tire repair kit. I do have a flashlight in there that has been replaced. The light that we're going to be talking about today. This is the NEXTORCH eStar, an ultra lightweight multi-source headlamp capable of producing up to 1,300 lumens and throwing out a light over 200 meters. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, Fernando, that's just the headlamp. Well, that's what I thought until I started playing with this headlamp. You're going to be surprised with the specs, and you're going to be surprised, even more surprised, if you actually use this. Now, let's take a closer look and see if the eStar deserves a spot in your everyday carrying kit. But before we get into that, let me talk a little bit about the company, because who backs this is important, right? NEXTORCH, it has been around since 2005. It has built a strong reputation for producing professionally grade lighting equipment for law enforcement and the military and some paramilitary organizations, such as emergency responders, security professionals, etc. And if you know anything about me, you know about my past, I come from a military and law enforcement background. This is how I got introduced to this company. But since then, that was my past life. And my new life and my new world of e-bikes, I'm constantly looking for light sources, especially if I want to ride at night or do deliveries at night. Because if you watched one of my videos in which I did a night shift, it was difficult for me to see the addresses or the numbers on the houses. And having a good light or spotlight is important to me, hence why I researched this company. Now, that's the company itself, has a strong reputation. Now let's look what comes in the box itself when you get it, and then we'll go into some of the specs. But one of the first things that stood out to me when I got this headlamp is how light it is. It is about 110 grams with the battery in it, which is incredibly light. And if you're wearing something on your head for any extended period of time, light weight really matters, right? When you put this on, it really kind of disappears in your head. Like you really forget that you have it there. But let's open it up and see what comes in the box when you get it. Now, this comes in multiple colors. I have the black one, which comes in this carrying case. We're going to see inside. I have the black one, but it also comes, and this is for my boy Bruce. It's like a purple color, right? It comes in this color. And then in your case, you're going to get a couple of things in the case. I've already talked about the carrying case, which is what you're going to get. Then you're going to get a charging port for the rechargeable battery. And then inside, let me show you. And let me show you how easy it is to access the batteries. So inside here, you just lift this, it opens up, and then you have 3 AA batteries. So you can either use the rechargeable battery or AA's. Now this becomes very useful when you're out in the field camping or doing something where you don't have the ability to recharge this, right? So you can recharge it, let this die out, and then have a few sets of AAA batteries, and then you're good to go. You'll have a lighting source for a while. Now let's talk about the numbers, right? This NEXTORCH eStar features the following. I was very impressed with the specs on this headlamp, but I've already mentioned it has a maximum output of 1300 lumens, has a maximum beam distance of over 200 meters, has dual light, it's a dual light source, white LEDs, red LEDs, has multiple lighting modes, a spot beam, flood beam, a mix between the spot and flood, the red light, and if I haven't mentioned already, has an SOS mode. And one of the features that I absolutely love is the stepless dimming system. Instead of being stuck with one predefined brightness level, you can fine tune the exact amount of light you need. You need maximum output, and this is how you adjust it, right? You need maximum output, then turn it out to the maximum. You need to dim it some, then bring it down. You can crank it up or crank it down, doesn't matter. All you need, it's simply done with this dial. Much better than having a predetermined light source, right? The next thing I like about this is, which is probably my favorite feature, is how you go from high, medium, low, turbo, strobe, and it is with this rotary device, right? It just rotates. Instead of having buttons here, I'm sure you've seen headlamps that have buttons to go to change modes, which you would have to do this, and sometimes you got to figure out which button you're hitting. This solves that problem, right? So here's how it looks, and all you have to do is change it or rotate it, and it gives you your different lights. I really like that about this. And then again, here's your red light if you need a red light, and there's your SOS. But let's go back here so you can also see what I was referring to about the brightness. As you can see, we can just turn it, make it brighter, or dim it. Just depends on what you actually need. Again, we're gonna talk about how light this is, right? Now, let's see what 1300 lumens actually looks like, right? So we're gonna dim this up. I'm gonna demonstrate this at night in a little bit, but it is extremely bright, people. Really, really bright headlamp. Again, if you're riding at night, hiking, camping, need some roadside repairs, or you're in an emergency situation, the visibility is going to be excellent. This is, I especially like how even the beams are distributed, right? There's no distraction or distracting like hotspots that you see on some of the headlamps. This is just straight. Now, when we talk about the red light that I just talked about, a lot of companies throw in a red LED light as an afterthought. Not here, right? This red light is great for preserving night vision, reading maps, working around camp, emergency signaling like we just mentioned or just demonstrated, and avoiding blinding people when you're around them. I love that red light feature, especially if you're trying to work at night but you don't want to be distracted or hurt your night vision. Really, really, really cool process of this. Now, this is where we're going to talk about the power output on this, and this is where the eStar gets really interesting. The rechargeable version includes a removable 1200 amp hours on this, and it's USB-C rechargeable, which we just talked about, right? But here's the cool part. If you run out of power here, like I've already talked about, you're not stuck with this. You can include those standard AAA batteries, which I think that's pretty cool. Next, let's talk about the durability on this and some of the ratings. This is an IP67 waterproof rating. It's dust resistant. It has a 1 meter impact resistance. So if you drop this for 1 meter or less, should not damage this at all. It may scratch it a little bit, but it shouldn't damage it at all. And Also, the waterproof system on this means that you can wear this while it's raining. If you use this as an e-bike rider, that's important, right? Because eventually, when we're out there, we might get bad weather, might get rain on. Demonstrated multiple times in my video how, for some reason, I'm always being followed by a rain cloud. I'm always getting rained on. This will still function in the rain, which I really like. Next, let's talk about the comfort. I've already talked about how lightweight this is, but you put it on, you can adjust how tight or loose is. Really easy to adjust here. Really simple. See right here, you just pull back or pull forward. Makes it really easy to adjust. You can tilt it, right, to your desired position. And then, like I said, once it's on, super, super comfortable. I mean, you can make it as tight or as loose as you want, and you can wear this for hours and it's not really gonna bother you at all. I really like that about this. Now, the last question that I wanna answer is, who's this for? I've already talked about who's this for a couple of people, but let's break it down, right? Number one, for e-bike riders. You're an e-bike rider and you like to tinker with your bike, especially if you like to tinker with your bike. You know, working in the shop like I do, being able to have a light that's available to work with me is really important. Again, I've also talked about if you're a delivery driver and you need something to help you look and identify the house numbers. Very easy to have. This can also be mounted on your helmet, which is how I use it when I'm riding at night. I mount this on my helmet. Makes it really easy. And again, if I want to crank up the light, I can do that. All I have to do is rotate it to turn it on, turn it off, right? This is all I need to do. Really simple. I'm not fumbling around looking for buttons. Let's go through some of the pros and cons, and let me start with the cons so we can always finish with a positive. The only thing I like to see in this is a larger battery option. Here, right? I'm out there for a long time, so I need this light to last a long time. Now, I do like the fact that you can switch it to AAA's if this runs out. But that's really the only negative that I can talk about. So the other thing, let's talk about the pros, right? It's extremely lightweight, 1,300 lumens, over 200 meters of beam distance. The spot, flood, and mix and red SOA modes are impressive to me. The stepless brightness, which is here, right? We're not looking for different modes. The rotary system to control the bike, I love that. The rechargeable battery, the AAA battery, the IP67 waterproof rating, and the last thing is the comfort of the headband. I mean, you really can't go wrong with it. So what's the verdict on the NEXTORCH eStar? For me, it's probably one of the smartest design headlamps I've tested. It is bright, lightweight, it's comfortable, and perhaps most importantly, it's practical, people. There are plenty of headlamps out there that are bright, but they're just not practical. Some of them are not light. There's always something not good with the product. And this is, I've always said no product is perfect, but this is close to perfect. Anyway, my beautiful people, if you're interested in this product, please use my link below. It'll help us out. And don't forget, ride, hustle, repeat.